Hi, you guys. Lady ReShell here, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we empower individuals to take actions that leads to a healthier lifestyle. I'm so excited for day 27, and tonight we're going to talk about breaking the news to your children. So do me a favor, like, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this information. So let's talk about breaking the news to your children. So when you find out that you have a cancer diagnosis, don't do yourself a disservice by not telling the kids, not including them, and thinking that they're not going to notice that something is going on, right? You owe it to them to let them know what's going on, especially if if something happens to you or you end up in the hospital, or God forbid, you end up passing away. Then your children are going to feel some type of way, because they're going to feel like you are hiding it from them. They're going to feel like you didn't love them enough to tell them. So just make sure that you include them in on a conversation when you receive the news that you have cancer. Now, we talked about processing the news first. So before you say anything to them, process it first, right? Process it yourself, because there's going to be questions coming your way, and you need to know how to answer those questions. So don't just, as soon as you get the diagnosis, and you run and telling your children, and then they're asking all these questions, and now you're really emotional. I mean, telling them, breaking the news to them, it's like an emotional roller coaster, right? So you want to make sure that the timing is correct, and you want to make sure that it's age appropriate when you tell them. So let's talk about some tips that will help you break the news to your children that you have cancer. And the first one is plan the conversation, right? Make sure that you plan the conversation about what you're going to say, how much you're going to tell them. You may not want to tell them, what stage it is. You may just want to say, yeah, mommy has cancer and she's going to have to do, chemo, and she may have to have surgery. Like, you may not want to give them everything. So the first thing you need to do, before you even say anything to them, is that you need to first give yourself a little time, and before you break the news and have a conversation with them, allow yourself time to process that news before, to make sure you have a handle on it before you just go running and breaking the news to the kids or anybody else. And so the second thing that you can do is that you need to get emotional support. So you should not be trying to do this by yourself, especially if you have a spouse, right? So you should make sure that if you don't have a spouse, then have like a trusted friend there, someone that you trust enough to where, you're going to get that support when you're breaking the news to them. So make sure you have somebody there that's going to give you that more emotional support, right? You don't want to do that by yourself. And then the third thing you want to do is choose the right time and take your time. So this is not a conversation that needs to be rushed, right? And that's why the first one was planned. Like, you need to really be strategic about what it is that you're going to say, how you're going to say it, the place that you're going to say it at, the time that you're going to say it. You don't want to get this information to kids and they're getting ready to get into bed, and now they have to go to sleep with the news that mommy has cancer and mommy may die, because you don't know what they have heard out in the social media world as it relates to cancer. So you have to pick the right time and place that you're going to tell them that mommy has cancer. It's very important. And so the fourth thing, or the fourth tip, is make sure that you and your partner are on the same page about how much you're going to tell the kids, right? Again, you may not want to tell them everything. You may just want to let them know that, you know what, our day-to-day routine may change a little bit because mommy is going to have to go to treatment, or, mommy may not have a lot of energy because of treatment. So you want to make sure that whatever you tell them, that your spouse is going to back it up, right? They're going to be like, yes, make sure that we're here to help mommy and give her a hand, and encourage the kids to do their chores and their homework, and kind of like not, overload or burden mom with a lot of stuff. But then you don't want them to feel like they can't approach you. So make sure that you leave that door open for them to be able to still come and ask mom questions, or however they, interact with you. So the fifth tip about breaking the news to your children that you have cancer is that you want to be honest and direct, right? Kids can sense when something is wrong. They know when something is wrong. So the worst thing you want to do is to not say anything to them, and then they see the changes taking place in your body, right? So now they're going to come to their own conclusion, and they're going to try to, make up in their head and figure out this is what's wrong. They may even blame themselves because of what's going on with you, right? So you have to be honest and you have to be direct. And again, this do it in your own timing, however you want to do it. When it came to me, I did not. So I have 5 children. I have 2 older children, and I think my son at the time was 18 and my daughter, I think she was 13, no, 14. So what I did was I told the 2 older one first. My Leah was actually with me when I got the news. She was at home with me. She wasn't supposed to be. I had stayed home that day, and she came home and I was there, and she's like, "Oh, Mom, what are you doing here?" And then I got the phone call while she was there, and when the doctor told me that I had cancer, so she found out right away. And then my son came home because he was in the service, and he just happened to come home for Christmas, and him and I took a drive, and I said, "Hey, let's take a drive. I got something I want to tell you." So we took a drive, and I just told him, I was sitting in the car, and I told him, and he felt like, was it something I did, Mom? Was it something, it has nothing to do with you. This is nothing to do with you. This is mommy. This is what I'm dealing with. This is my battle. And it's not because of anything that you've done or you said or nothing like that. It has nothing to do with that. Right. So my 3 little ones. So my oldest was 18 and my youngest was 18 months, right? So I didn't tell the younger ones until maybe I might have been maybe 3 or 4 months into treatment, right? I had already lost my hair, had already lost weight, my skin was already turning dark, and I really didn't have the energy to do a lot of the things that I was doing. I mean, my girls was in tumbling, my girls was in dance. So I was like not only running during the week because I still worked. The only day I took off was Friday because that was my chemo day. So I only took that day off, but the other days I was still working 8 hours a day, and picking them up, coming home, cooking, doing the normal stuff, and of course my Leah was helping me a lot with things too. And then on the weekends I would take them to their tumbling, to their dance, and then try to get ready for the week coming up. So it was a lot, and believe me, I was exhausted, but I just thank God for the strength that he gave me to get through. So you probably heard the story about how I told the 3 little ones was the one day I was getting ready to go to work, and I got in my truck, started it up. Well, no, I got in the truck and I couldn't turn the key. Like I didn't even have enough strength to just simply just turn the key. I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna make it. Like I just didn't have the strength. I mustered up enough strength to go back in the house, and I just laid in the bed, but I had this book that my girlfriend gave me. It breaks down how you break the news to kids. So you breaking the news to your child, you break it the best way you know how. So however you want to break it, there's no right or wrong way. So for my kids, I had a book. In this book, it explained how to break the news to the kids, what was mommy was going through. So it explained everything. So I hid the book in my car, and I told my daughter, it's time to tell them. So just tell them what's going on. And I went in the house, and then they just came running in the house and hugging me and kissing me and like, Mommy, we so sorry, we so sorry. And then at that point they knew. So then they kind of, knew like the changes, what was happening. Then I didn't have to hide my bald head anymore. They was able to see, my hair growing back. So, so don't be afraid of the word cancer when you're describing or explaining to them what's wrong with you. Let them know cancer, because believe me, there's so much information out here on social media. It's just so much, and you don't want them to go somewhere else and get the information. You want to be able to tell them yourself. So that's number 5. So number 6 is keep the language simple, right? Keep it simple, keep it age appropriate. Whatever the age is of your children, then tell them in their own language, what's going on with you. You don't want to overwhelm them with too much information to where they have a hard time processing it, right? You want to make sure, look at it as a series of conversations. So don't look at it like you got to pack everything into this one conversation. No, because you want to have conversations going on throughout your journey. You just don't want to overload them with information on that first conversation. So the 7th tip that you need when you're breaking the news to your kids that you have cancer is that you need to guide that conversation as much as you can, right? You need to make sure that you're the one that's coming up with the different things that you want to tell them. You want to tell them about treatment. You want to tell them if you're going to have surgery. You want to tell them about chemo. You want to tell them about the day-to-day activity that may change. You want to tell them, mommy is going to need her quiet time from 6 to 8, whatever. You want to make sure that you're guiding that conversation, but you want them to know that that you are still supporting them, that they're still supported by you, but you want to make sure that you remain in control of that conversation as much as possible. So number 8, it's okay to say I don't know. If it's something that the kids ask and you don't know, just say I don't know, or just say, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my doctor and I'm gonna let you know about that because I don't know. And you don't want to give them some false information. You want to be able to make sure that you're being honest, again, honest and direct. So just don't be afraid to say, I mean, this is just not for the kids. This is for anybody that you're talking to. If you don't know, just say I don't know. All right. So number 9, when you're breaking the news to your kids, is show that you're coping. So they have to see that, they have to see you going through the process of this disease, right? You have to be able to show them like from one point to the next. So like when you lose your hair and your hair start growing back, you want to show them, okay, look, mommy lost her hair and now her hair is growing back. So what I did with my kids is I had a ruler and we measured my hair, how short it was, right? And so then every so often we would measure the hair to watch it's growing. As you can see, this is my hair. This is all my hair. So I went from a bald head to, this is me right now. So they got to see that process. They got to see me coping. They got to see me, getting up, going to work. And they got to see even when I had to be hospitalized because I needed a blood transfusion because my hemoglobin was low. So they got to see that. So you have to let them see you coping, and then coping may not always look pretty. So number 10, when you are breaking the news to your kids that you have cancer, is don't be afraid to show them when you're sad. And, I may be guilty of not showing the kids this. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I don't even think I ever cried. They never saw that. They never saw me cry going through my cancer diagnosis. They probably never saw me sad going through this. I really didn't have time. I had my sad moments when I was first diagnosed, and when they would go to school, I would just stay at home in the dark and I would cry, right? Once I started my treatment, I didn't have time to cry because I was in warrior mode and it was just like, let's go. So I did not have time to have pity on myself. I just didn't. So I just made sure that, yeah, they saw me, they saw me lose the weight. They saw my skin getting dark. They saw like my nails and stuff fall off, turn black, and I had to wear gloves to wash the dishes. Like they got to see, that they saw the part where I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat. So I had like a one particular food that I ate all the time until I was able to get the taste buds back in my mouth. So as far as the sadness, because when I had surgery, I sent them away to go and stay with their dad for like a month until I got through my surgery and stuff, because I just didn't want the little kids. I just didn't want them to see that. And my oldest child was here with me when I went through surgery, but I just did not want them to see that part because I'm so hands-on with them that it really would have took a lot out of me to have them around, right? It would have just took so much because I would have wanted to do things, right? I mean, when you have girls, you have to do their hair, you have to make sure that, they look good when they leave the house. Like it was a lot. So, I'm grateful that I had my daughter, my Leah, and my oldest son that was able to help me with them. So number 11, when you're breaking the news to your kids that you have cancer, is that allow you control the presentation of the information that you want them to know, right? So whatever it is that you want them to know, you control that information, because if you don't, like I said, they may get it from somewhere else. And when they get it from somewhere else, it may not look or sound how you want it to sound. So they may say, oh, mama, your mother got cancer and she's about to die. You see, she's losing all of that weight. Like you want to be able to control that conversation. Don't allow somebody else to do that for you. Hey, Kenya, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. So don't allow somebody else to be able to control the information. That's something you create the picture that you want them to have. But again, be honest and direct with them. Don't try to sugarcoat it, because they need to see, They need to see you going through. They need to see that life is not always going to be roses. And yeah, you may get sick, but guess what? You may recover. So they need to see that process happening. So the last one, number 12, I think this is the last one. Number 12 is encourage your children to express their feelings. So encourage them to say how they feel, right? Acknowledge their feelings. They may even need to go see a counselor to get some of their feelings out, because what you don't want is you don't want them to start acting out. Now their grades are dropping in school because they're worried about mom and she's going to make it. Like, you want to be able, maybe if you do it maybe once or every 2 weeks, to where y'all just sit and have like a round table and everybody just express how they're feeling. But you got to be able to allow them to express how they're feeling, because they're going to be puzzled. They're really going to be puzzled. Hey, First Lady, they're really going to be puzzled. So the last thing you want to do is to have them worried about something when they're working on their schoolwork. They may get clingy. This is the thing, like, because they think maybe something's going to happen to mama. So they may be really clingy with you, want to spend a lot of time with you, and don't even want to spend time with their friends or do the things that they normally do. So you want to make sure that you are encouraging them to express their feelings, encouraging them to kind of stick to their routines, because kids love routine. So you want to kind of, as much as possible, have them stick to their routines. And if you're not able to take them to where they need to go practice or whatever, then that's when you pull in your help and you have them to help you, so the kids can stay kind of consistent with what's going on. And then you concentrate on healing and, gaining your strength back, because you need the support of your kids, but you also need to take that time for mommy so that she can heal. So I just gave you 12 tips on how you can break the news to your children when you have a cancer diagnosis. And remember, you don't want to keep this information from them, because kids are very inquisitive and they're going to, they can sense it. I can remember coming home, taking off my wig and putting my scarf on. And my daughter Micah is like, "Mom, let me see your hair. Like, take the scarf off." And remember, I hadn't told them yet. And then I'm like, "Why is she asking me that?" I'm like, "No." She was like, "What's under there?" I'm like, "It's my hair." And she was like, "Well, take it off and let me see." She was sensing something was going on, because when I would get home, I would run right to my room, take the wig off and put the scarf on. And she was just asking like what was going on. So they sense it. And they deserve to know. They deserve to know the truth, so that, if something happens to you again, they're going to be devastated, because they're going to feel like you kept this from them. You didn't trust them enough to tell them, and they deserve to know. So if you decide to break the news to your children, again, make sure it's age appropriate. Make sure you have a plan in place. Make sure you use their language according to their age. Make sure if you have a spouse that they come in with you, and support you through giving this information to your children. So there you have it. We are on day 27. I'm so excited. We're doing 31 days and 31 facts in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And tomorrow is day 28. I hope that you guys saw the post on my page. My book is going to be released on November the 1st, and it's titled Take Charge of Cancer. And the book is for individuals who are newly diagnosed with cancer and they have questions, and that, you don't know what to expect during this process. So thank you, Kenya. I appreciate it. And you don't know what to expect during this process, and you just have questions, right? Because that's how I was. I had questions. I was all over the internet, calling people here and there. And so the book is going to answer a lot of questions for someone who's newly diagnosed with cancer, kind of calm their fears and help them navigate through their diagnosis. So I'm excited about the book. I already had some pre-sales on the book, so I'm grateful for that. And it's just my intentions that it bless someone who's going through. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is Lady ReShell, and I am the author of Take Charge of Cancer and the founder of Warriors Talk, where we empower individuals to take action that leads to a healthier lifestyle.